from 2013 to 2020, and he now serves as Associate Academic Dean for Student Affairs. Professor Chandler's is a life of service and of dedication to the ideal of academic success and service to both God and mankind. But his life is also full of frustration, as Professor Chandler is a lifelong fan of the Cincinnati Reds, which is, it's been a long time. It really has. But I can't say too much. I'm a lifelong fan of the Cleveland Indians, and so therefore rooting for any baseball team from the state of Ohio is just a losing proposition, so I feel you in that sense. But beyond Professor Chandler's academic achievements, beyond his experience, Professor Chandler and his family are a vital part of the Florida college community, and we are happy to have him with us here this afternoon. Please join me in welcoming Professor Todd Chandler.
Thank you very much. Dr. Chilcote and I share a love for mediocre baseball teams. We also share a love for exemplary college basketball teams, the mighty University of Kentucky. Just had to put that little commonality in there as well. Years ago, one of my children was beginning his academic career in kindergarten, the great golden years of kindergarten. Golden year, I suppose, of kindergarten. There are those years for some. And they were celebrating the number 100. And to celebrate the number 100, his teacher asked the students to draw a picture of what they would look like when they were 100 years old. Whatever that's about. So they draw the little pictures, and you go to visit the classroom, and all these pictures are on a bulletin board in there. And you look at them, and they have canes, or they're in little wheelchairs, but the sun is shining, and they have little grandchildren around them. But one picture stood out. It was my son's picture. He was the only one who, when asked to draw himself at 100 years old, drew himself dead. Tombstone, R.I.P., nobody there. What can you say? What can you say? Perspective makes a difference, doesn't it? Even at 5 years old, perspective makes a difference. And perspective makes sometimes all the difference. Alpha Chi is named for two Greek words, one that means truth and one that means character. Alpha and Chi are the first letters of each of those words, truth and character. And the official motto of Alpha Chi, I learned from its website, is one you'll recognize. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Well, that's a great motto. I don't know what Alpha Chi means by that now, but I know what it meant by the one who originally stated that, and I know that that follows another part of that statement. That is the second part of a statement in John chapter 8 that begins this way. If you abide in my word, you are truly my disciples indeed, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And that important perspective sets the tone for what all knowledge really is leading us to, what all learning is trying to create us to be. Freedom is conditioned on knowing the truth, and knowing truth is conditioned on His Word. In the previous chapter, to the same audience, by the way, a previous day, but it's the same audience. In John chapter 7, verse 17, Jesus said this, if anyone's will is to do God's will, he will know whether the teaching is from God or whether I am speaking on my own authority. See, they were challenging them. Where does this message come from? And the answer was simple. So it gets back to your perspective. What do you want? If anyone's will is to do God's will, he will know the teaching. And it's to those people that the truth will set those people free. Freedom is conditioned on knowing truth. And knowing truth, Jesus says very plainly, is conditioned on my choice. It's my decision whether I will come to know truth or not. Truth and knowledge, same thing, different things. They fit together. For believers, the truth sets us free because they are free to see, they are able to see it as truth. Many are simply unable to see truth as truth. And Jesus goes to great lengths in John chapter 8 to elaborate on that. And much of the epistles elaborate on that. you have succeeded very well in academics, and you need this perspective. You need the John 7:17 perspective, a desire to know God's will. Knowledge puffs up. It's that love that edifies. That's what Paul taught in 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 1. In Romans 12, he said this, reminding us not to allow anyone to think of himself more highly than he ought to think. And just a few verses later, he simply stated, do not be wise in your own opinion. 1 Corinthians chapter 4, he chided, what do you have that you didn't receive? And he was challenging that question to people who had received a gift. And that gift was leading them to the wrong place. And so he tried to give them the right perspective on that. Don't think you're wise. Don't think you have anything that wasn't given to you in the first place. Don't think that your knowledge makes you something greater. Knowledge just puffs you up. It's love that really edifies. You, students, were given a gift. And you have made a choice, a really good choice, to excel in it, and you're good at it. And that is worthy of commendation. It's worthy of recognition. It's worthy of ceremony. And I'm glad we're doing this. You have worked hard. Many of you will be working hard tomorrow, even though it's fall break, sort of, on a Wednesday. You have endured. You've sacrificed. That all make that sound really negative, doesn't it? But to excel in anything means you have worked really hard. And you are likely to continue to do that. You have ability to do it. You have the skills to do it. You have the appetite to be excellent in what you do. And so you are going to continue, likely, to receive award, and acknowledgement, and accolade throughout your academics and into whatever career you pursue. And the perspective with which you pursue it is going to make all the difference in the world to you. What Alpha Chi means by its motto, likely, today, is very different than what Jesus meant when he revealed that truth to that audience 2 millennia past. The right perspective, you wanting to do what God wants you to do, will allow you to use the gifts he has given you to serve. It will allow you to remember that in spite of growth, you always will know so little. We all know so little in spite of how much we learn. It will allow you to avoid the pit of measuring your value by these kinds of honors and these kinds of awards. And that's a pit that many successful people fall into. You will avoid needing other people to assure you of your view of yourself. That's a dangerous place to be. The right perspective will prevent the hubris that is so common among academics who fall in love with their own ability and their own learning. That great perspective of desiring to do God's will. You'll find not just knowledge, but you'll find truth. And you'll have the perspective to know the difference. I'm glad to be a part of this event tonight. I appreciate the invitation very much. I appreciate Stephen inviting me and joining in a part of it. And I want to add my personal commendation to all of you for a job very, very well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Chandler. It is now the time where we will induct the new officers. So would the officers-elect please approach the podium? The Florida Xi chapter of Alpha Chi is now convened on a significant and meaningful occasion. This society, as an organization, is composed of the best student intellectual life in this institution of learning. Membership in this society is the highest academic honor to be achieved on this campus. And official leadership in this chapter is both a high privilege and a great responsibility. Therefore, as we are assembled on this important occasion, surrounded by our symbols and our colors, we desire to impress upon you, our duly elected officers, the high worthiness of our society and the great responsibility of your leadership in it. The success and advancement of the Florida Xi chapter of Alpha Chi are largely dependent on you as its leaders. The spirit of scholarship in this institution of learning will be enhanced and deepened, or it will be impoverished and retarded through you as its official representatives on our campus. This responsibility is not to be assumed lightly, but is to be undertaken advisedly, earnestly, and in full devotion of the laudable aims of Alpha Chi, which are the stimulation, development, and recognition of scholarship, and those elements of character that make scholarship effective for good. This chapter, through its members, has chosen you as its officers, believing you best fitted to fill these places of responsibility and most worthy to lead its activities during your tenure of office. Stephen Hamilton, will you, as the duly elected president of the Florida Xi chapter of Alpha Chi, assume the chief responsibility for promoting its welfare and devote your abilities to making this society the greatest possible force for good in this institution?
I will.
Will you, in your personal and official acts, hold high the ideals of Alpha Chi and perform well all your duties as its leader?
I will.
Then repeat after me. Realizing the significance of this responsibility, I sincerely dedicate myself to the faithful performance of all its duties to the best of my ability. Congratulations. Madeline Turner, as the Vice President-elect, will you, as Vice President of this chapter of Alpha Chi, strive to acquit yourself in a manner that will enable you to be prepared to serve in the President's stead? And will you, on and off the campus and within this chapter, strive to promote the ideals of this society? And repeat after me. I will study to do all things well and will conscientiously fulfill my duties as Vice President of this chapter. Congratulations. Erica Sanders, the Secretary-Treasurer-elect, will you, as Secretary-Treasurer of this chapter of Alpha Chi, accept the duties of your office, keep accurately and for preservation all records of the chapter, perform faithfully all your other duties of the office, and endeavor to advance the cause of scholarship in this college? And repeat after me. I promise to perform faithfully all my duties, and so to act, that the cause of scholarship will be advanced. Congratulations. Now that you've all been duly invested with the powers and authority accorded you as officers of this chapter of Alpha Chi, and whereas you have accepted the high responsibilities of your positions, I now pronounce you duly installed officers of the Florida Xi chapter of Alpha Chi. Let's have a round of applause for all of them. And now I will turn the floor over to President Hamilton for the induction of the new members.
Alpha Chi is pleased to welcome this class of inductees into a fellowship of more than 300,000 members from some 400 college and university chapters. These chapters will induct more than 10,000 new members this year, and will all promote scholarly achievement and high character on their campuses, as well as the academic community at large. Members of Alpha Chi, identified and elected by the faculties of their schools as ranking in the top 10% of juniors, seniors, and graduate students, represent the best undergraduate scholarship in all academic fields at their institutions. We are pleased to add you to this growing number of outstanding scholars. Will the candidates for membership in the Florida Xi chapter of Alpha Chi please stand? These students have fulfilled all requirements for this high recognition. Their achievements indicate that they are progressing towards the ideals of our society, truth and character. I recommend them for the affirmation of allegiance to Alpha Chi and to their subscription of the Constitution. Scholarship is the power of the mind to dispel ignorance and superstition through the fearless investigation of and search for truth. Because of your scholarship and character, you have been invited to bring your candles, which symbolize learning, and to light them at the central gold candlestick that symbolizes knowledge. The candidates will now repeat in unison the Society's statement of affirmation. I uphold that I affirm that I will uphold the purposes of Alpha Chi, striving to make its ideals my ideals, in scholarship and in service. In the name of Alpha Chi, please come forward and light your candles, then affix your names to the Constitution of the Society. Megan Page Barrett. Reagan William Barrett. Rebecca Claire Branham. Juliana Christine Guzetta. Caden Lee Johnson. Macy Ann Palmer. Luke Sterling Reeves. Audra Lee Wetherington. Fellow students, I pronounce you members of Alpha Chi and welcome you into the fellowship of this Society of Scholars. I charge you who have taken this solemn affirmation of membership to guard with due diligence the scholarship of this college, the honesty and integrity of its scholars, and the moral and spiritual ideals of your alma mater. I congratulate you who are now recognized as having received the light of your alma mater in reality as well as in symbol. Cherish and use it well as a sacred possession and responsibility. Let us now unitedly declare our purpose by repeating together the motto of Alpha Chi. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. As you now extinguish your candles, you will join with all members of Alpha Chi throughout the world in promoting the aims, purposes, and ideals of our illustrious fellowship. You are free to be seated.
Let me once again extend our thanks for your presence here this afternoon, all those who were able to be here in person and for those who are listening in online. We thank you for sharing in this special occasion with both the existing members of Alpha Chi and our new members. I'd also like to extend a personal bit of gratitude to Judy Bertram. Much of the ceremony is because of her organizational abilities and her ability to get everything here tonight. And so I want to extend my personal gratitude for everything she has done in helping make this ceremony a reality. But we also want to wish these students the very best in all of their future service and in all of their endeavors. And let's give them all one more round of applause. Thank you all for your presence, and have a wonderful evening. Goodbye. All members, though, would like